This is episode 9 of Hot Drop, the Battlegrounds podcast. I'm Dano, your host, and let's get into it. This week we hit 400,000 concurrent players. I absolutely cannot believe the growth that this game has seen. This game came out in March 23rd of this year, and in 4 months to the day, we have peaked at 422,195 players, which is enough to put Battlegrounds in the 4th position of all-time peak players at any given time. This is absolutely amazing to me. I've never seen a game grow like this one has. Right above Battlegrounds in the 3rd position for all-time peak players is Fallout 4 at about 50,000 more at 471,000. And then above that in number 2 we have Global Offensive at 850,000, and number 1 spot belongs to Dota at 1.2 million. Battlegrounds has a really long way to go to hit that number 1 spot, but I absolutely cannot believe how far it has gotten in just 4 months. 5 million copies sold and 422,000 peak players is just amazing to me. I firmly believe that by the end of August we'll have hit 500,000. I just do not see this game slowing down anytime soon. So it's been a little while since I've done an actual traditional episode of Hot Drop. I had my on the road episode, and then I did some live gameplay analysis, which got surprisingly a lot of great feedback. I'm really happy about that. That was a really fun episode to make and to edit. There was a week 16 patch that I missed. There was not a lot of really cool stuff in that patch. I can run through it really fast. Basically, the only interesting patch note that I wanted to call attention to was the bug fix where you're no longer zoomed in after you get revived if you were zoomed in when you got knocked down. So if you were fighting someone and you were zoomed in looking down your scope and they knocked you out, when you got revived you would still be looking down your scope, looking down the sights. So I'm really glad to see that they removed that, so when you're revived you're no longer automatically brought to your sights. So that's really the only big change that was in this patch in week 16. There were a few small things like optimizing the care package airplane and improving the UI performance. I did actually notice a difference from loading from the game back to the menu, or just loading into the game in general. It seemed a lot snappier, a lot faster to me. But other than that, there was really nothing too interesting. What I do want to talk about, however, is the Week 18 patch, which is scheduled to hit the live servers on Thursday, July 27th. And it contains a decent amount of bug fixes, all of which are great to see. But on the other hand, it contains a new key and crate system, which has a lot of people pissed off. If you follow the subreddit, if you follow the Discord or the official forums, you'll see the uproar that this has caused. I'm going to hold on that and just talk about the bug fixes real quick, and I'll bounce back to this new key and crate system. One piece of feedback that I got from a follower was that they actually wanted me to read off every bullet point for every patch note. I might not do that every single time, but for this patch it's pretty small, so I'll just run through them really quick. Fixed a bug where characters got stuck indoors after partially destroying them. Fixed a bug causing the door interaction UI to appear even after doors were completely destroyed. You can now use consumables while browsing the inventory during a reload. Fixed a bug where characters could not pick up items while running despite seeing the looting animation. Fixed a bug where characters could shake in spectator mode while running. As usual, these are all good bug fixes. Nothing crazy here. It looks like they had a couple issues with doors when they were in a broken state, but they've cleared those up. The other thing that's worth noting is just that they fixed a bug where you couldn't pick up an item as you were running by it, and I'm glad to see that that's fixed as well. And before we get into the crate and key drama, I just wanted to mention that in these patch notes they said there will be another update. This will be coming out on August 3rd and will be the monthly update for July. They'll have some awesome new features here, and I can't wait for it. Finally, we have first-person server options are coming to NA and EU solo and duo game modes. I am so excited about first person. This is going to make the experience so much more intense. And it's going to completely eliminate the third-person camera where you can peek around corners without exposing your body. So I love first-person shooters. You know this from, watching my earlier episodes where I talked about the games that I grew up playing, and all of those were first-person. So I feel really right at home in a first-person camera mode. So seeing that they're adding it to this game and it's going to be just as good as third-person makes me really excited. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing third-person because I definitely do enjoy that as well. But having the option of going into a very intense, hardcore first-person server is going to make for a really fun time, a really fun game mode. They're also adding an FOV slider, so for those who don't know what that means, it's a field of view slider. So right now when you enter first person mode, it seems like you're zoomed in really, really close and you can't really see much on the sides of your screen. So what they're going to do is add a new option to widen your field of view so that you can see more and basically zoom your camera out just a little bit. So that's going to make it better for people who want to see more on the screen or are having trouble with motion sickness. They're also going to add a new rifle to the game, which is really cool. I love how they're adding all this great content. They didn't say what the rifle is going to be yet, but I'm going to assume, and this is me totally making things up, that it's going to be a sniper-like rifle similar to the SKS, because we don't have a lot of sniper rifles right now that spawn in the world. We have the Kar 98 and the VSS, which barely counts as a sniper rifle, and we also have the SKS, but I have a feeling that's going to be a sniper rifle, and that's just me completely making things up. And now on to the drama. In this patch that's just hitting the servers today, we are seeing a new key and crate system implemented. So let me back up really quick because people might not know what crate and key really means. So in certain games, such as Counter-Strike, you have crates that drop that are given to you as you play the game randomly. So throughout the week you might have 3 random crates that are given to you and you have these in your game inventory. The crates are free and the crates contain things like skins. So this means cosmetic items that have no effect at all whatsoever on the gameplay. Literally just things like new pants, new shirts, just a cool hat or something like that. Something cosmetic to wear on your character that everyone can see but really has no effect on the gameplay. These aren't things that give you additional stats. They don't make you more powerful. They don't give you increased accuracy. Nothing like that. It's literally just a shirt that your character would wear. However, to open these crates, you need to pay money. You need to pay real-world money, something like, in this case, and in CSGO, it's $2.50 to buy a key that will open the crate, which will give you a random item. So these random items some are more rare than others, and usually you can, if you don't want to wear these on your character, can sell them on the Steam market for real money. In the case of Counter-Strike, there's usually something like 10 or 12 different weapon skins that you could potentially open up and unlock by spending the key to open the crate. Some of these are worth a lot of money. Some of them are extremely rare, so I have actually a chance of opening a knife in Counter-Strike, which would equal something like $250, $300, even more than that, upwards of $500. Depending on what you open, these things are worth actual real money. It's pretty insane what people pay for skins, something that's cosmetic. But we don't really know what these things are worth until the economy is built up and we see what the supply and the demand is and what the rarity of the items are. So we really don't know what the prices of these items will be. Battlegrounds in this update is releasing 3 different crates. First we have the Wanderer crate and the Survivor crate. These will be free to open. So these will cost no money, you don't have to buy a key, it's literally just giving you free cosmetics. I don't think anyone has a problem with that whatsoever. The third crate is called the Gamescom Invitational Crate. And this actually contains different clothing sets that were based on the Battle Royale movie. They're not adding crazy rainbow colors or clown masks or anything like that. It seems very fitting to the theme of the game. However, you have to pay real money to open these crates. They said right in their official FAQ that they will not add microtransactions during early access, and this is what is really getting under the skin of a lot of people. Personally, I will be 100% honest and say I do not care whatsoever. If you want to buy these things, you can buy them. If you don't want to buy these things, you don't have to buy them. That's literally it. I'm not going to panic and freak out and say, oh my god, the devs don't care about this game, all they care about is making money. We saw this with H1Z1. Yes, their developers went absolutely crazy and all they focused on was releasing more skins and more crates for more money. But I honestly have seen nothing that tells me that Battlegrounds is going to do the same thing. Yes, they went against the word, and I will be a little concerned about that, yeah, but they haven't done anything else that tells me that they're focused on cosmetics and not on the core functions of this game. They say right up front that the crate money is being used for three specific things: to provide funds needed to organize this Gamescom Invitational, to provide a prize pool for the Invitational winners, and to support a selection of charities. So they're not taking this money and just putting it in their pockets. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with them using this money in a way that will benefit the community, and that seems to be what they're doing. Until I see otherwise, until they stop pushing regular updates, until, something crazy happens where I can say, "Oh my god, these guys all they care about is money," I support them. I have no problem at all with the crate and key system. We knew these microtransactions were coming, but they really clearly outline what they're doing with the money, and that's the key thing here. If they just introduced the keys and crates and said, you can buy this item and it's going to go right into our pockets, and they didn't actually say what they're going to do with it, that's something else. That's a completely different thing. The people complaining about this are the 5% of the people that actually own this game. Some of the things that people have said on the subreddit are absolutely insane. People are calling for a boycott. People are telling people to write negative reviews of this game on Steam because the developers are going against their word. One of the titles of the most popular post right now is, "Hey Bluehole, you're kind of blowing it right now." People are freaking out, and there's no reason to freak out about this. One discussion that has 13,000 upvotes on the subreddit says, "Just say no to real money keys. Crates and keys are an anti-consumer means of distributing DLC. This game is not even out of early access. It's breaking a promise not to include DLC until after early access and doing it in the most anti-consumer way possible. Don't fall for it." Like, people are absolutely insane. Whatever. I honestly could care less about microtransactions. They make the game continue to be successful for years to come, and I'm all about supporting the devs. Until the day it becomes an obvious cash grab like H1Z1 did, I have absolutely no problem with this. The money is going towards a charity or an invitational to promote the game, to bring in more players, to bring in more devs, to make the game better. I have absolutely no problem with it. But now I need to give a quick history lesson, because if we don't learn about the mistakes of the past, we are doomed to repeat them. This is a little story about H1Z1, and this is the reason why people are upset and worried about the direction of skins in an early access game. CSGO has shown us that people pay a lot of money for these things, and developers notice that. It's good business, obviously. You want to bring in as much money into your company to keep the game flowing and growing, but at the same time, the money could go to your head. And people are worried that if companies see this massive influx of money, they think, oh, I can just be lazy and not actually finish my game because we're just making all this money from skin sales. So this is a story about H1Z1, and I want to talk about this game. I keep referencing H1Z1, King of the Kill, and Just Survive because they're very similar games to Battlegrounds. And I think that H1Z1 was a perfect example of how not to do early access. Whereas Battlegrounds, so far, there's a little bit of red flags with this crate and key stuff, but so far, they have been, to me, the standard of what early access should be. A few years ago, I would frequent the H1Z1 subreddit daily, checking up on news and speculation about where the game was headed, and there was no shortage of threads where people gave constructive, very well thought out feedback about the game, posts that would take people hours to make. As updates for the game slowed down and the devs seemingly became less interested or started to abandon it, especially the Just Survive side, I saw that the community became toxic really fast. This hive mind mentality of the devs don't do anything, the game is broken, they don't care, King of the Kill is the cash cow, they're giving up on Just Survive, this really seeped in and took over the entire community, and people became hostile to each other. Someone would post one of those really long feedback threads, and the top comment would be something like, "Who cares, man? The game is dead. Move on. It's over." It was really sad to see, especially considering that just a few months ago, people were so excited about the future of the game. H1Z1 lost a lot of things during development about a year or so ago. They were bought out by an investment firm, so they lost the backing of Sony. They removed their CEO. They had multiple senior level employees leave the company. But most of all, they lost their vision of what the game should be. And I'm not talking about Just Survive, but King of the Kill too. They started focusing on cosmetics and brought no real updates to their completely broken game. The items were increasingly ridiculous. We had pig cigar masks, we had demon masks, pumpkin heads, creepy clown face bandanas, Christmas sweaters, and oh yeah, we had an entire extreme zombie wrestling themed crate. Many of these skins made their way over to Just Survive, a game that was initially announced and marketed as a more seriously toned zombie survival game. They had no one over there at the time to wrangle in the developers and say, dude, are you nuts? Like, light up demon masks, they do not mesh with the vision of this game. And it was because they had no vision. So instead of releasing new content, it was crate after crate after crate, and they left core features of this game either half-baked or not even functional. Anyone with half a brain saw that King of the Kill devs realized that all they had to do was add more wilder and wackier cosmetics to the game in order to keep milking the cash cow. The devs over at H1Z1 have turned it around a little bit recently. They've added some more updates and add some more content, but the thing is, they only started doing this once Battlegrounds came out. They realized that they couldn't get by just on skin sales. They needed to make their game better. They needed more content. They needed the player count to keep growing. And the number of players that were leaving that game in favor of Battlegrounds was enormous. And you can see that in the Steam charts. And you can see that in the number of people that watch the game on Twitch. People weren't leaving H1Z1 because of the skins. Like, the skins were not the issue themselves. The problem was that they spent all their time focused on making these skins and milking that cash cow instead of making the game better. Battlegrounds comes along, and it's just a much better game. It's much more polished, it's built with an engine that is proven, and it's built by developers who are pushing updates extremely fast, and they're listening to customer feedback. That's the biggest thing here. Skins aren't the issue. It's how the company changes when they realize how much money is coming in, and they realize that they can just be lazy and sit back on their heels and watch the money flow in. I think people are right to be a little bit concerned. But I don't think it needs to be anywhere near the level of extreme panic we've seen in the past couple days. I think people need to chill out a little bit, see what happens, give Bluehole the benefit of the doubt, because they've done nothing to prove otherwise that they're not strictly concerned with making the best game possible. Switching gears for a second, to more drama. Feel like Three Dog, bringing all the news. There was something that was very interesting that happened between PlayerUnknown and a very popular Twitch streamer, and I want to give my opinion on that. If you're a gamer and have any kind of social media account, you know that drama and video games go hand in hand. We had Gamergate, very recently we had GTA modding, we had Overwatch butts. There's always some kind of juicy drama for people to latch onto and blow up on social media. As much as I hate on King of the Kill, the one thing that they did right was getting streamers to play their game. Twitch streamers bring incredible exposure. Summit himself, one guy, one streamer, can start streaming and instantly that game is launched to the top of the Twitch charts. Personally, I don't completely understand the appeal of some of these streamers. But the reality is that these people are content creators and influencers, and they pull massive, massive audiences to the games that they play. People see their favorite streamers playing and enjoying a game, and they want to join in on the fun. They start playing the game. But sometimes your streamers who you promote do something negative, and this can trigger a chain reaction throughout your entire community and across social media. It's all about how you handle that negativity. And I think what happened between DrDisRespect and PlayerUnknown could have and should have been handled much better by the team at Bluehole. For those of you who don't know him, this is DrDisRespect.
The name. Is Doctor. Disrespect. Respect. I'm an international video game superstar. I'm 6'8", 37-inch vertical leap, a jawline that will cut, slice, deliver anything that you can ever dream of, right to your front door. Nothing but success. Nothing but success. That's what my life's about. Period.
He's extreme, he's obnoxious, over the top, and definitely entertaining. A week or so ago, there was an incident where DrDisRespect was playing a game with two other streamers, and they were running a squad, so a four-man, and they auto-matched with the fourth, who was a random. So they had a motorcycle with a sidecar at the time, and it only fits 3 people, and there were 4 of them who needed a ride. So the doc does what the doc does, and out of nowhere just guns down the fourth guy. For no reason, just to be a dick. Obviously this is wrong. It's a douche move. However, what happened next brought the ridiculousness to a whole new level. A Bluehole dev saw the stream and immediately gave the doc a temporary ban because team killing is against the rules, as it should be. Team killing has no place in any game online. PlayerUnknown responded to the drama on Twitter saying, "If you break the rules in my game, you're going to have a bad time." To which the doc responded, in typical doc fashion, "I'll break the rules and look good doing it." He also included that if he could do the splits, he'd roundhouse kick PlayerUnknown in the neck. Okay, yes, obviously a joke. But PlayerUnknown responded with this huge story about how he went to college and got kicked through a glass door, and that I was triggered and you should never use references to violence as a means to solve a dispute. And I have mixed feelings about this. So I'm going to bullet point them real fast. 1. Doc was wrong to team kill. Jerk off move. 2. PlayerUnknown appropriately responded by temp banning him to set a precedent to say, hey, even though you're a streamer, you're not above the rules. And I agree with this. Whereas H1Z1 probably would have promoted that video on their Twitter and laughed about it. Okay, that was probably not true. 3. I thought right off the bat that this was a publicity stunt. Think about it. Doc gets support of his fans, PlayerUnknown's fans support him, Twitter storm happens, multiple news outlets pick it up, more copies sold, win-win for everyone. But that was until I saw PlayerUnknown's really long response detailing his traumatic event. 4. I see what PlayerUnknown is doing with that story. I think he has good intentions, and he's posting it and getting defensive, and it's for all the right reasons, but it was just out of place. So we've gone from a friendly but firm exchange where PlayerUnknown is setting a precedent, then suddenly cranking it up to 100 with this traumatic story and a life lesson. 5. But I see what he's trying to do. He's using his position as an influencer to send a message to kids. Lots of people have said things like, hey, PlayerUnknown, your game is an adult game. It's rated M. It's about violence. The entire point is to kill people. Yes, and this is true. Anyone who's playing this game should be 17 years or older and already should have figured out by now that violence in real life should not be used in a way to solve an argument. But are they? No, not a chance. We meet people in-game that are 12 years old or less all the time. The reality is that a lot of young children play this game, and a lot of very young children watch Twitch and follow the doc. So the story and life lesson felt severely out of place to me. I'm a 27-year-old grown man, and I'd like to think I already have my morals figured out, and that I shouldn't roundhouse kick people in the neck if I disagree with them. But you'd be amazed at the amount of people who ask if Doc is for real or if he's a character. You'd be amazed at the amount of people who can't read between the lines and identify sarcasm or satire. So yeah, to me, PlayerUnknown should have shrugged this off. But on the flip side, what he did by taking that strong stance was saying, hey man, I get you're in character, but you need to switch it off sometimes. To me, personally, it is so blatantly obvious that everything that Doc does is in character. But it's not blatantly obvious to everyone. I think PlayerUnknown blew it out of proportion, and even though his heart was in the right place with the story that he shared, I just think it was a little too much and too out of place. But that's to me. To everyone else, even if there's one person that he reached through that story, why not share it? Why not use your position to speak out on a topic that you feel strongly about? If one person's perspective was changed, then he succeeded, and I support that. However, all of this that I just mentioned is not really what I want to talk about, because it's the result of all of this that's the most interesting part. This Twitter exchange absolutely affected the game. So as soon as this all went down, another thread popped up on the subreddit where someone claimed that they were in a squad and auto-matched with a random that killed them. They retaliated, and the random reported him, and then the guy who got attacked initially got banned for the retaliation. This opened up a huge can of worms, where people took to Twitter and Discord and asked PlayerUnknown what the deal was. And the response was, team killing is zero tolerance. It doesn't matter the circumstances. If you team kill, someone reports you, you will get banned. A bit later, the community manager is quoted as saying, if you don't want to get griefed, don't auto-match in matchmaking. I was really surprised by this response. I hope that they can figure out a better rule and a better system for punishing people who ruin the game for everyone else. Like, zero tolerance, unfortunately, caters to the trolls. I would love if the devs had enough time to look through every report and see the context of the team kill before immediately banning the person, but unfortunately, that's just not feasible. Think about how many people play this game, 422,000. Think about how many games happen in a day. It's impossible to go through all the reports. But zero tolerance is not the answer. Like I said, it caters to the trolls. There's no way to escape a griefer. You can't run away. They see you on the map. They can keep killing you, picking you up, killing you again. Your only choice is to just leave the match. And this is fine at early game. Whatever. We got auto-matched with an idiot. We'll just leave and come back. But it would totally suck if you get to the end and a D-bag kills you for no reason at all. And now that I'm older and have more responsibilities, when I only have a few hours per week to play, it totally sucks to have to deal with kids griefing me. I saw a lot of back and forth between people online, and a lot of people were saying that we need a punish or forgive system. Something like you get team killed and your victim sees a screen where they can forgive or punish you, and then 3 punish reports would be a temporary ban or something similar. But I think what CSGO does with the cooldown system might be a really good alternative that they should look into. So in CSGO, your team kill count resets every week. The first time you team kill someone, there's no punishment at all. It's fine. Whatever. You made a mistake. The second team kill could be something like a 30-minute cooldown, where you're immediately kicked from the game and you have to sit and wait for 30 minutes until you can play again. And that is an excellent deterrent from people being a troll and just going into matches to team kill their teammates. So say they get 2 team kills, they sit out for 30 minutes, and then they go in and team kill again. Now we're up to 2 hours. And having a 2-hour cooldown is enough to dissuade the trolls just a little bit. They will get up from their computer and do something else because it's not fun anymore. Meanwhile, if you're actually accidentally team killing, 2 hours isn't a night ruiner. Like if you're playing during the day and you get a 2-hour cooldown by accident, you can still join the game a little bit later and the day isn't completely lost. So now you sit out your second tier of punishment at 2 hours, and you come back and you team kill again, a 4th time. So now we're sitting at a 24-hour cooldown, so 1 whole day before you're allowed to play the game again. This is just like a temp ban. You sit out 24 hours, and for some reason you still can't keep killing your teammates, so you come back and you kill 5th guy. Now we're at 7 days. 7-day cooldowns. It happens. It happens in Counter-Strike. People are absolutely crazy. I think this is a perfect method for combating team killers. I don't really see team killing being a really big problem right now. I personally haven't really experienced it in my games, but it's mostly because I don't auto-match. I play solo, or I play squads alone and turn off auto-matching, or I just play with a group. Yes, this game is so much more fun playing with the group, and you can definitely have some good games if you team up with strangers, and you can even become friends with them. But it's much more fun when you're playing with people you know. It's so exciting to play this game with friends. I think the answer of turn off auto matching is the wrong one. I don't think that they should discourage people from going into matches with random people and meeting potentially great people to play games with. I think Counter-Strike's cooldown system is really the way to go on this. It will really discourage people from screwing around in game and just ruining the experience for everyone else. So that about wraps up episode 9 of HOTDROP. Thanks for sticking with me. This was a really long episode, but I thought I covered a lot of good topics and shared my opinions on a variety of different things. I went off a little bit hard on H1Z1 and their use of the crates and key system, but I think it's deserved. I mean, I really think from being as unbiased as possible, from my view, it really seemed like they cashed it in with that game, and I really, really hope that doesn't happen with Battlegrounds. I'm keeping an eye on this whole situation, and I will be very quick to give Battlegrounds criticism if I see that they're stepping out of line and going against their word. They have introduced keys and crates a little bit sooner than I would have liked, which is true, but I think they're doing it for a good reason, and I don't really see it being a negative at this point. So yeah, stay tuned for next episode. We should have some really good stuff coming up in the next patch. We got a new rifle to cover, and I'm thinking about adjusting the show just a little bit to make it more structured, to make very separate segments where we move into different topics in a logical way, and then show gameplay footage at the end of every episode. So yeah, please share any feedback you have, and until then, I'll see you in game.